Thought I would do a video real quick and just kind of show you the rest of my World War I game collection to kind of close out this month, where we've played World War I games basically for 4 weeks, which is really enjoyable. I'm liking this sort of like theme month thing, so we're going to be doing some more later this year. Next one probably in August, do a whole month of Ancients games. I've got plenty that I want to play. Yeah. You know, I got plenty of games I want to play of any kind. But I thought I would show you the rest of my World War I collection, and you'll get a sort of glimpse of the rest of my war game collection as well. So obviously down here we've got 1914 Serbian Masturbian. I've played that on the channel. Definitely go check that out if you haven't. And then the big boy, 1914 Offensive à Outrance. That is one that I will get to eventually. I've just played so many games in this system with Battle for Galicia and Burning Mountains that I need a little break. But I do want to get to this just to finally have an opinion on it. So I might be able to play it at a local gaming club at some point. More on that in a minute. But as we look at some of the shelves that I've got here, you know about Decisive Victory 1918 Soissons. Did a couple videos on that. Really enjoyed it. You can see some other games there. I have got all of the Of Glory system games from World War I. So Illusions of Glory I picked up. I was really excited to play it, and I actually didn't get around to playing it because I had to wait for this sort of revised components. I guess there were some problems on the initial release. Still have not played it. Really would like to. I know this is going to be heretical, but I still have also not played Paths of Glory. It's been on my to-do list forever, and usually when I have my main wargaming partner and I want to play something, this always gets put on the back burner for something else. I have played Pursuit of Glory, and this is obviously World War I in the Middle East. Lawrence of Arabia here, you can see. I picked this up secondhand when I was at a convention in Canada, and I played this a couple times actually. It is great. It is fantastic. It is a wonderful game, and I am really happy that GMT is going to be reprinting this, so anyone who missed out on this is going to get a chance to play it. It's really compelling, really interesting. Cool, very cool game. This Next Door Vietnam goes here, by the way. I'm playing a game of that. What else have I got World War I wise? You might see some cats in this as well. Oh, I do. Speaking of, hello, how are you? We're talking about World War I. Okay. We've got Balance of Powers. This is a game that I bought. This is one of my first war games that I actually ever bought. I bought this at Consim World the year 2015, maybe. It's the only time I've been to Consim World. I went with a friend. This is a really excellent looking World War I strategic game. It's got like 4 maps in it. Here's the errata that I printed out in there, but it's got like 4 maps in it. This is a hard to find game now, I'm pretty sure. But I love the art style. It covers the entirety of World War I across the globe. It's got 3 maps plus another 8.5 by 11 map for Africa, plus a naval display, so it takes up a lot of room. Can't even get everything out of there right now, but you can see all the maps in here. I've always wanted to play it. I've read the rules. I've seen some other people play it, and I just have never gotten around to getting it to the table. It's a big undertaking. I do want to do it, and I might do it for the channel at some point. And I'm really happy I own it, even though I still haven't played it. It's been 6 years. Maybe this is another one I can get at a gaming club locally. One day. These are most of my Compass games, as you can see there. All right, we got more World War I goodness here. So 1914 Glory's End, When Eagles Fight. You've seen me do the When Eagles Fight half of this dual pack. Ted Racer game. Really liked When Eagles Fight. These two are fairly recent pickups. This is Der Weltkrieg. This is an operational level World War I game. From SPW is the company, the guy who designed it. It's actually distributed by Decision Games, and there are actually 5 boxes. There's a Western Front, an Eastern Front, an Italian Front, and an Ottoman Front. And then there's like a box that's just extra maps that links those all together into a true global campaign. And a couple of weeks ago, I got a chance to finally try this system with Jeffrey Phipps, the designer of Gallipoli 1915 and the upcoming Mons 1914. He'd owned it for a long time. He had never played it. So we busted out the Eastern Front one, which he owned, and we played that, and we both really, really loved it. This particular system is what I wanted from this particular system. So if you're kind of hesitant on this, here's my recommendation. Check out the Der Weltkrieg series from Decision. The Eastern Front one is probably the best value for money and the most interesting box in terms of conflicts, but the Italian Front one is the smallest footprint. The rules are really accessible. It models a lot of really interesting things. like supply and the way supply is geographically handled, almost in an OCS fashion, but simpler. And it's very playable. The rules are not very complicated. It's very well written. It's very well designed, and it's really interesting. It captures that World War I flavor. I'll show you here. I'll show you the Ottoman front, actually, because there's a lot of stuff in this box. But if you've never played Der Weltkrieg, it is a really interesting World War I system. And you can see here that what makes it actually truly unique, and what I like most about it, is that hexes in this game actually can encode up to every hex side. Basically has a little wedge. So, like, for example, sorry about the shadows. Well, let's use this as an example. So, like, as you can see here, this particular hex that my finger is covering, this one right here, actually has, like, half of it's clear and half of it's mountain, and that affects combat and movement. So when you move across the hex side, there's different movement costs depending on where you're coming from, and when you're attacking, it also has some different effects on combat as well, like which side the defender can use. It's a really genius way to encode information into the game map, and the game, when you connect it, truly has an incredible scale. This game here connects basically everything on the Ottoman front. So it's got the Ottoman campaigns into Caucasia, it's got the Levant, it's got the Middle East all the way to Mesopotamia, and you can play a combined game where you connect all 4 maps in this box into a huge sort of Near East, Far East, Near East, Middle East campaign game, which is really cool. And like I said, you can connect all of these together. You can connect all of these together into a giant global thing. And actually, I'll show you a picture. So after I played at Metro Seattle Gamers, which is the local game club, I'm having real trouble getting this in there right now. After playing this with Jeff at Metro Seattle Gamers, we decided that we were going to tackle a larger footprint scenario, or a couple of scenarios. So we're talking about doing the East Front and the Middle East, or possibly the East and West Fronts over the course of several years for World War I, with a 3v3 ongoing campaign game that we can leave set up. And I'll show you a picture here, right now. And that is what all of the maps, minus the Ottoman front maps, looks like, all set up together. It's just, the scale of this is truly epic. But because it's so playable, it's not very intimidating, which is really neat. Really neat. This is Strafe Expedition, which I've shown you in previous videos from Europa Simulazioni. Still would like to get this to the table, especially now that I played Burning Mountains and know a little more about that campaign, but it looks excellent. Hard to solo based on the way that the Fog of War is generated through core activations at the beginning of a turn, so you may not see that one on the channel, but I try to do it anyways, just because it's something I'm looking forward to. Sorry, I'm having trouble with this. Anyways, back to Der Weltkrieg. Looking, the Ottoman and Italian front ones were the ones that are most interesting to me, but the East front one is also really compelling. I may pick that up at some point as well, but great system. I think from a World War I perspective, if you're looking for a system, this is probably the best one that I have played. What else we got? We have got some 1918, which you have seen in a video. I still haven't played this, really looking forward to it. This is from Nuts Publishing. They're also doing an Italian front version of this system, which looks really unique and cool. This is Brother Against Brother 1918. I would consider this a World War I game. This is about the Finnish Revolution after World War I is over. This is a Kickstarter. It's a card-driven game from Luda Creations. You can see the map here. I have not yet played this. I would really like to. The combat system is kind of interesting. And it's also fully bilingual. It's got Finnish rules and English-speaking rules, or English language rules, I should say. But yeah, it's about the Finnish Civil War. So, it was funny because this came out probably like less than a year before All Bridges Burning came out from GMT, which is the coin game about the Finnish Revolution, the 3-player one. And speaking of that, again, another one that I would consider a World War I game. All Bridges Burning, Red Revolt in White Garden, Finland, 1917 to 1918. It takes place in the era, takes place during the conflict while World War I was happening, or shortly after. So I would consider these two games World War I games, even though they're not specifically about World War I. I'd really like, actually, I haven't played either of these. I'd really like to get both of them to the table, but specifically this one, I feel like I received it, I read the rules, and then I never got a chance to play it. So it's been begging me for it. And All Bridges Burning as well, which looks fantastic, and I love coin, so 3 players seems like a really good sweet spot for that system. More World War I, this time from the tactical variety. This is Great War Commander. Basically, this is from Hexasim. It uses the combat commander system for World War I. This is the British Expeditionary Force expansion. Have not played that. Have played probably a third of the scenarios in the actual Great War Commander game. This is primarily French versus German. And then obviously this adds the BEF stuff. So you've got the sort of northern western front of World War I kind of setting in here. But this is a tactical game that uses, like I said, the combat commander system. It is very good. This is a very good production from Hexasim, and it is a very good game. An excellent implementation. I'm not the biggest fan of World War II tactical, but because I am a fan of World War I really do enjoy this game. It's got some really smart design in it. And I hope they continue making expansions for it, because it's very cool. And obviously as a Hexasim game, it's very nicely produced as well. Again, one that I can't do on the channel because there's so much hidden information and it's card driven, but you know, maybe one day I will get it to the table again with some friends and we can play some more scenarios out of it. I am anxious to try some of the BEF stuff. What else do I have over here other than a mess? I have Gorizia, which you know, something, again, I would like to get to the table at some point. Some non-war game stuff down here. All right, let's take you over to the rest of the World War I stuff. Couple others real quick before we move on from here. Obviously, Battle for Galicia 1914, you know, that should actually probably go down here with the Mike Resch stuff. And I would also put Burning Mountains there as well, which we just completed a playthrough for. So you should check out. I have videos for both of these that I've done in the last month if you're interested in learning more about this system. But I would consider all of these the same system, even though these two are much more advanced and much more involved than these two. But, you know, they're all share the same DNA, so put them together. It almost got skipped over, but thankfully I caught myself just in time. This game here, which I have played one time, but thought was pretty genius. This is Verdun 1916 Steel Inferno from Fellowship Simulations. And, you know, if you've been watching my channel, this game is illustrated by Jacques Tardy, the guy who wrote Goddamn This War, and it was the War of the Trenches, which I did a video on in the last Comics for Wargamers. So look at that, full circle. We got a guy who wrote World War I comic series that really got me interested in the period, who then which then got me into war games, which then obviously he did the illustrations for a war game about World War I. What a snake eating its own tail. This is a, okay, so behind this game, the reason I own this is I believe this is a Kickstarter, and then it's available, or it might still be available on Fellowship Simulations website. It's a new company. They've done, I think, 1 or 2 games. I think this is their first game or their second, I can't remember. Anyways, I saw Volko Ruhnke and Mark Herman talking about this game on Twitter for like a week and a half straight, like going back and forth about it. I saw it set up on the table. I love Jacques Tardy. I had to have it, knowing really nothing about it other than that Volko and Mark Herman thought it was great. So that's all the endorsement I needed. Let me get this cover off and show you just a little bit. It is a block game, but not a block game like you may be thinking. It is a card-driven block game, but not card-driven like you may be thinking. So it comes with these long, unlabeled, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe the blue ones are easier to see. It comes with these long, unlabeled blocks that represent your units, essentially, and they stand vertically in this game. You don't lay them down flat, which is kind of an interesting look. You've got all these dice here of different colors that you roll. You've got some counters, control markers here. It's kind of a light game, but anyways, here are the decks, and these are what's illustrated by Tardy. Here, let me see if I can get this rubber band off so you can see some of the art. The art is fantastic. So you have these cards that you play, and you can do multiple things with them. Here's bad weather. Here's some photographs. Not all of them are illustrated. Here's some air. Here, okay, so here's what I wanted to show you. So your artillery cards, these barrage cards, are landscape style, and you can play these from your hands to do barrages on certain turns in the game. There's 6 turns in the game. This is the Battle of Verdun, obviously. And so this is really cool interplay between like playing cards for barrages. I believe the defender can play counter barrage cards, but the art is just so evocative. If you've read any of Tardy's World War I works, you know, just him bringing this game to life is really cool. It's got a mounted board. Let's see if I can get this out of here with one-handed without spilling anything. But it's a really great game. It's not too complicated. It's got some really interesting concepts in it. Some markers. Here's the rule book. Not a long rule book at all. Tardy's art playbook. That's Wargame standard. Here is some player aids. It's German event tables, so you get some random events. But it's an area movement game. I don't know. It's just very good. It is very, very good. I've only played it once, but I would desperately like to play it more because it was very thrilling. It came down to kind of the final couple of turns, and it really gets across sort of the difficulty of the Battle of Verdun during World War I. This is, in my opinion, one of the best World War I games to come out in the last couple of years, so highly recommend checking it out if you get the opportunity. Another one that I think is one of the best West Front World War I games that's ever been made. This is Kurt Keckley's Field of Despair. This one I know is actually kind of hard to find. The print run on this was not very large because it contains so many blocks, but it's a really interesting block system. Its blocks can be anywhere between 0 and 20 strength points, so you never know how big the units you're attacking are. It's got a lot of really fun fog of war stuff, a really clever, smart artillery and air system, a really clever, smart Eastern Front sort of abstraction with like cubes in a bag, and every turn you pull out some cubes, and that sort of tells you what happens on the Russian front. This is a fantastic game. If you can ever get your hands on this and you want a World War I game that is not too complex and that really focuses on sort of the fog of war and sort of shell game that you're playing in World War I, this is the one to have for the West Front. It is fantastic, and you can see I have some other two of my favorite games of all time right here. Yeah, this is great. This is a fantastic game. And finally, as part of my World War I game collection, we have this game from Turning Point Simulations, which is the first Battle of the Marne, the battle that changed the world in 1914. This is one of the Turning Point Simulations 21 most important battles in world history series. Like most Turning Point and Against the Odds games, it comes in a counter tray. But it's a really nicely produced game. I mean, these setup sheets are really nice quality. You can see like semi-gloss, shows you all the different corps. One for the Germans there, one for the French here. Just a really nice production. I was really surprised when I bought this. I was kind of interested in the concept of Turning Point. It's my first Turning Point Simulations game. It's really interested in the concept, excuse me. And I was pleasantly surprised when I got this game, the quality. It comes with a mounted map, which is really nice. And it's small. I think this is 11 by 17. So you can play the Battle of the Marne pretty quickly. What's interesting about this game is it's all the units are 4 steps. So you've got 2 counters per unit. And I've played sort of half of this game once solo a long time ago. I really wanted to get this to the channel this month for World War I. We just ran out of time. So when I revisit World War I, we're definitely going to look at this game in real detail, because I really liked what I played of it when I did my sort of solo test of it several years ago, and looking to get back to it. This is again the first Battle of the Marne, the battle that changed the world, 1914, from Turning Point Simulations. And that is my World War I game collection. I'm always looking to add to it if there's something interesting out there. I do think I have a nice wide swath of stuff. You can see I have a bunch of stuff I need to put away here, Kingdom Death included, in front of this shelf. But nice swath of World War I stuff, and I really like most of the stuff that I have played as well. So that is my... Looking forward to doing more World War I content on the channel at some point in the future. And, if you have any questions or recommendations for me, I'm definitely all ears to learn about those as well. Thanks for watching. I will be back in a couple days.